Hello, everyone. My name is Sukhmani Lamba, and I'm a Senior Product Manager for Teams. And I'm so excited to be here today and walk you through everything we've been working on for the last few months. So as we saw in Rabia's demo earlier, message extensions are a fundamental building block for plugins. I'm sure many of you here have already built message extensions in the past. And for sure, you've realized that you first need to set up a bot via the bot framework. We've heard from so many of you that you want to have the choice to build these with a little bit ease without necessarily having to create a bot first. And we've listened to your feedback. Today, I'm pleased to announce a new way to create message extensions via your APIs. With just a simple OpenAPI spec document, within a few minutes, you can now deploy a fully functional message extension with Teams Toolkit. And let me show you a sneak peek of this now. I played with this earlier and recorded it for you so that you can get a sense of just how easy this is. Let's have a look. So we start with creating a new app here. I'm in Teams Toolkit. This is going to be of type message extension. And we choose custom search results here, which are the type of message extensions that are supported today, with support for other types to follow soon. And in the past here, we had a single option to create these message extensions using just bots. And we now have these two new options to start from APIs. And you can start either completely from scratch using a sample Azure function, or starting from an existing OpenAPI spec document. I'm going to go with option 2 for this demo. So for today, we already chosen an API. And to make things just a little fun, this is an open source API that actually allows you to share jokes with your colleagues on Teams on any topics of interest. And we've already wrapped it up using that OpenAPI format that I was talking about earlier. So we chose that file, and Teams Toolkit has already parsed it, and it's figured out what operations are inside that spec file. We had a get operation today for our search query. We give the app a name that users can find it by in the Teams UX, and we're all set. So let's have a look at the Teams app manifest that Teams Toolkit just generated for me. And it directly references that same OpenAPI spec document that we just uploaded, and it specifies that this particular ME is of type API. What Teams Toolkit also does is it generates an adaptive card response template, which is going to package the response from your API in the Teams UX. And these templates can also be modified right in VS Code. To save time, we already built a more polished adaptive card, which I'm going to drag and drop here. And there it is. So now by clicking on Preview Adaptive Card, you can actually, right from within Toolkit, preview these cards as you design and modify them. These cards can also be made more dynamic with operators like if or when statements that will change the contents of the card in real time in the product. So for example, we specify here that for all jokes of theme spooky, the card should display a specific image that we chose from Bing Images, and we specify the URL. You can do the same thing for other categories. You can also refine responses from your API, such as set restrictions or flags on specific topics, like say you don't want jokes on politics. So with that, we're now already all set for deployment. We're in the lifecycle pane, and we're going to hit provision. And we're ready to preview this right in Teams. So I've already done that. We can skip to the fun part. Now, I know this isn't a comedy show, but let's see if we can get a few laughs out of this new message extension we've created. We're a few weeks away from the holidays. We're trying Christmas. Skeleton couldn't go to Christmas because he had no body to go with. That's kind of funny. I think we can get a few laughs here. No? Tough crowd? OK. The next one is on turkey for Thanksgiving. A goblin. I think that could have been funny. OK. I'll excuse no laughs. Maybe third time's a charm. Most of us are programmers. And object-oriented. OK, that was actually funny. This is getting me ready for Black Friday shopping. I think I'm object-oriented. So there. All of this is available as a sample app today on our GitHub repo. And we'll share a link to the resources at the end of this show. And that's it. As simple as that, you can build your first message extension using APIs from existing APIs in a matter of minutes today. And during our public preview, these API-based message extensions will be available in Teams first. And in the upcoming months, it's going to follow as plugins as well on Copilot, just like bot-based message extensions. So we just saw how you can expand Copilot with plugins built from message extensions, both bot-based and API-based. Now let's dive into expanding what Copilot knows by actually ingesting your enterprise data with Microsoft Graph Connectors. So in our first demo here for Graph Connectors, I'll show you how you can quickly set up a Graph Connector built by Microsoft for a custom file share. This file share actually contains many healthcare research articles, as well as a simple CSV that actually contains metadata for all of those resources. Let's roll the clip. So now all my admin needs to do here is go to the M365 Admin Center within Search and Intelligence Portal. We're inside the Data Sources tab, and we're going to set up a new connection. In here, the admin can just select the CSV Graph Connector that we talked about earlier and begin setup. We'll give the connection a user-readable name. And then we're going to go ahead and fill in remaining details, such as the auth, schema, and permissions. And that's it. Now the admin can go ahead and publish the Graph Connector. Awesome. Now we'll take a look at how this works in Copilot. So in about 20 minutes, this connection that we just built is going to get published. And when I prompt Copilot, as I'm doing here, it's going to show me content about lung conditions. And there it is. I'm going to get multiple responses. And notice that I didn't have to ask it for any specific disorder. Copilot just understood that intention of my request and returned these results from an external database that I'd linked. And it's complete with references and everything. I think it's pretty cool. OK, so this was a pre-built Graph Connector that the admin deployed. But what if you wanted to build your own custom Graph Connector? Let's start with what fundamentally makes up an M365 Graph Connector. And these are the building blocks. It's an external connection to your data sources that you want to bring in, a schema for that external content, and finally, someone to manage the indexed items that are being ingested into M365. So let me show you how I built one from scratch. Let's roll the clip. So developers can use Teams Toolkit to easily build one of these cloud-based Graph Connectors and deploy them with the single press of an F5. We have the project pulled up here in Visual Studio Code and Teams Toolkit. So this is in the app manifest. Let's look at the Graph Connector configuration. The notification URL here is what defines where notifications should be sent when the administrator toggles the Graph Connector connection status in Admin Center. Azure Functions are what handle the incoming notifications to either enable or disable that connection. And finally, creating connections does take a few minutes. So to handle it, we use queues and queues-triggered Azure Functions. OK, we're all set. We press F5, and we start the Graph Connector. Teams Toolkit takes care of everything from installing prerequisites, building out the project, starting a dev tunnel, and then finally deploying that to the Teams Admin Center. So we're in the Admin Center now. We just saw that it's set up. So the Graph Connector has received that notification of what we enabled, and it's going to complete the configuration process, which does take a few minutes. OK. And now that the connection is ready, we'll check the status, and it has been updated to success. Let's confirm once that the Graph Connector has properly imported that external content. So again, we're back in the M365 Admin Center, where we can view these external connections in that same search and intelligence portal from where we manage these under data sources. There's a connection, and we see that 50 items are indexed. The final step now is to include this external content so that Copilot can index it. And we're all set. So we just saw two options for deploying Graph Connectors. One was starting from scratch, and the first one was pre-built by Microsoft. And here's just some of the value that you get by ingesting your enterprise data into M365. Very first thing, it's bringing in rich data from all your external sources, whether they're on-prem or on the cloud. It's also discovering your external content very easily for users across M365 experiences, like Copilot, Microsoft Search, as well as the M365 app. And this is so that users can spend less time searching. And then finally, recognizing that all of this data that you bring into Microsoft Graph is protected by the same security and compliance policies that apply to the rest of your M365 data. So that's it. I'm excited to see what you start building, as well as what you enhance on what you've already built with plugins and Graph Connectors in Copilot. And there's actually more. As a developer, you do need an environment to try all the new plugins and connectors that you will create before shipping them to production. And today, we're excited to announce a new offering, the Copilot for Microsoft 365 Developer Sandbox. So you can test your plugins and connectors in a non-production tenant and develop the experiences that we showed you today. This is still in private preview with limited supply, and it's available for our ISVs in the TAP program and for our Copilot customers. And you can learn more at this link here. Maybe take a picture of this one for sure. Thank you.